was the former chairman of the NDC at the time. He broke away from the NDC to form the Democratic Freedom Party in 2006. That party got 27,889. That's 0.33%, less than 1% of the votes in 2008. That's the presidential election. Now, he came back to the NDC, though, because he said that he's seen some changes and so on about the issues that he raised. Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, First Lady, very powerful in the party, founder of the 1st December Women's Movement, wife of the founder of the party, broke away from the NDC in 2012, contested the 2016 elections, polled just about 0.16%. That's 16,935 of the total votes cast in that particular election. But did that make any significant impact on the NDC's votes? Because in that election as well, the NDC won and lost in 2016. They lost. Alan Kojo Chamantin, here we are, breaking away to form the Movement for Change. What would be his impact in the 2024 general elections? That's the question that we're asking. And as we go on, we'll get into the specific detail when I come back to Dr. Sarsante. But Honorable Dafeamekpor, so for you in the NDC and taking cognizance of the reasons that Alan Chamantin raised for this particular decision and the fact that you are not immune to some of these breakaways and so on, it did not come to you definitely as a surprise because of the specific issues that he talked about, which has been playing out over time.
Yes, Alfred, thank you again.
Prof, please hold on for me.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Once again, good morning to my co-panelists, and of course yourself, and my constituents in Southern Peki, Balik, Pevetongo. I'm not surprised, and of course the NDC is not surprised, mainly because the issues that Alan raised to anchor his departure, as it were, from the NPP to his announcement to state that he will be participating in the national politics as an independent person, were similar to the issues that he raised in 2008 when he first left the party and he had to be impressed upon to return to the fold of the NPP. But you see, NDC, we have suffered some of these in the past. And we're given all kinds of names by the NPP for persons have been aggrieved for one reason or the other and leaving the fold of the party. We were labeled, giving all sorts of names and labeling. Today, the shoe is on the other leg. And I want to find out from them if they can go back into time and label themselves in the manner that they labeled us. But that is by the by. For anybody to suggest that the departure of Honorable Alan Chamantin from the fold of the NPP would they have an adverse effect on their political fortunes, hasn't perhaps watched keenly the national politics. It would certainly have an impact. But you and I cannot sit here and determine that. Because you see, others are using the views of NPP party executives in Ashanti and elsewhere to gauge his popularity. Meanwhile, he's very popular among the generality of the voters in Ashanti and the Akam block. So if you use that earlier indexes to gauge his popularity, you may get it wrong. In fact, that will be determined during the outcome of the 2024 elections because a lot of factors are going to go into play. But a bit of hindsight into time. Look, political parties and politicians have always merged, metamorphosed from one group to the other and all. If you recall, the collapse of UGCC after 51, it led to some key members forming a lot of parties on religious, tribal, ethnic lines. You recall Northern People's Party, you recall Muslim Association Party, National Liberation Movement, Anglo Youth Organization, Togoland Congress, GAN, Dafeamekpor, and all that. They participated in 54 and 56 elections. But Nkrumah saw the danger that these tribal groupings or political parties portend for the country. So what did he do? He enacted what we call the Avoidance of Discrimination Act, CA, the law we call CA 38. Now, as soon as he did that, he forced these parties to form what has become known as the United Front Party, the United Party, UP tradition. And over time, UP also collapsed, leading to the emergence of the PP towards the 69 Second Republican elections. Then 79 came. So political actors will always oscillate in and out of parties with fortunes. Either when they leave with fortunes, or when they come, they bring in fortunes. So certainly, we are not taking Alan's departure from the MPP lightly. As the NDC, we are studying it carefully and see what sort of political strategies we can put in place to align along certain lines. But it was very interesting listening to Alan a while ago, when perhaps his first salvos are towards the NDC for not coming out with any policy. Clearly, he hasn't read our 2020 manifesto. Clearly.
You say you haven't proposed anything.
Yes, and I'm saying that if you had read the NDC's 2020 manifesto, which was a huge document,
very detailed,
crafted on thematic lines, from education to health, to infrastructure, to industry, to trade, commerce, banking, financial sector. And I'm shocked that he, being a trade minister for nearly 7 years under Nana Akufo-Addo's government, and also a trade minister in the previous Kufuor regime, will say this about the NDC. But be as it is, I want to put it across forcefully that the NDC has alternative policies. Indeed, if you had been listening to our flag bearer, for instance, has said that as a people, we cannot continue to proceed and do things as we do now. So, for instance, what does he propose? He says that there will be a 24-hour economy. Some persons will go to work in the evenings, whilst others are coming home. He said that. That's such a major shift in policy. Because even hospitals now, if you have issues at night, you are in a crisis. Our nurses are no longer nurses of yesteryears, being responsive to emergencies. So if we can have a group of staff who will be on duty from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., and will earn salary for being at work at that time and attend to matters of state, that is such a major shift in policy.
And obviously, put measures in place to measure their productivity.
Of course.
Of course.
So that don't go to work and sleep. You understand? But it's such a major shift, and it's such a very interesting point to make. Now, he has also said that going forward, he doesn't think that borrowing, unbridled borrowing, should be the way to go. We must be able to look within and raise our finances. How are we going to do that? He's crafted a lot of very innovative ideas in doing so. So the Honorable Alan Kyerematen should take his time and look through our 2020 manifesto, which will be a manifesto that will not be materially different from what will be presented in 2024. Because you see, in 2020, as a party and as a people, we're not permitted by the generality of Ghanaians to implement our policies. And it's still a policy that we will look forward to implementing. In any case, All the policies and promises that his government and his party put forward before the Ghanaian people, what happened to them? They became empty promises. So it is not merely about promising the people that you do A and decide not to be able to accomplish B or not accomplish A at all. It's about being committed when you say that you do A and delivering on the mandate. So Alan should take his time and re-engage and re-look at our manifesto. But generally, to wind up on the matter, his departure from the NPP will have an adverse consequences for the fortunes of the party.
Well, I spoke to some political analysts who say that the NDC as well should take cognizance of his departure and the decision to contest as independent candidate, and whether his personality can draw persons aligned to you as a political party to him who are probably disgruntled within the NDC as well.
If you listen to me, before I move on to the point of the policies, I said so, that we are studying carefully his departure from the NPP, and we are taking it very seriously to craft strategies to determine whether or not his departure will adversely affect us or will not to our benefit. It's a matter of studying how the political terrain goes, you know. And maybe miracles will say it won't hurt them, but I know that it will hurt them. You are welcome. So Okase, I spoke to that matter, that we are not taking lightly his departure. We are actually serious about it. We are studying it and see how, if it will hurt us, we'll have our strategy. If it will not to our benefit, we'll welcome it.